Hey, welcome back, and I wanted to talk about why Security Breach sucks. Don't get me wrong, I've been in this franchise since I was in middle school. I'm 20 now, so it has its grasp on me, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about how bad this game is. Also, this video is unscripted. If you enjoy that way more than my scripted videos, let me know, and I might continue doing this. Let's get on to it. Hey, fair warning, this video is going to be all over the place with these issues. Some of them are just pet peeves and others are actual game-breaking issues that is just sad for a game this size. So bear with me, please. Let's start with one of my biggest pet peeves, Gregory. I don't like him. I'm sorry. Just because he's a kid doesn't mean I can't punt him. Him as a character does not make sense. I mean, come on, he doesn't act like a normal kid at all. In this franchise, that is not a good thing. He's weirdly merciless to these basically alive robots, and you cannot tell me they aren't sentient. Roxy cries, Monty screams in pain, these fuckers are basically alive. And Gregory doesn't give a fuck! I mean, it's not like he doesn't see a problem with it morally, because he lies to Freddy about how they got decommissioned. He knows it's kind of fucked up. He does not care. And before you say he's doing this in self-defense, he's not, because that's not self-defense. Self-defense is the phaser blast, or the phas cam. What he's doing is downright malicious by ripping off their body parts and upgrading Freddy with them. Upgrades which won't really help him get outside. Maybe a tiny bit, but they're mostly used, at least Monty's and Chica's are, to get to secret areas. Which from a gameplay point is cool, but from a story point does not make sense. Cause yes, he might be here to figure out what's happening to those kids or something like that. But they don't tell you. Sorry, correction. Gregory does say at the end of the game, before you leave or if you choose to leave, there will still be disappearances if he leaves. And then Freddy's like, well, there are still a lot of secrets to check out, which, Freddy, your whole thing was getting Gregory out of the building safely. Why are you suddenly switching up? But whatever. So I just want to correct myself. If Gregory was a normal kid, he would have stayed in the daycare with Sun until 6 a.m. while he could leave. But instead, no. He doesn't do that for some reason. Because, again, I don't know if they'll tell us later on or we'll figure it out for ourselves in the story. But they never give you a direct answer. And sometimes that's fun for searching for lore and being like MatPat. But other times it's downright frustrating because I'm now just confused, and I'm gonna be confused for weeks until somebody cracks this. 'Cause God knows I'm not smart enough to do it. So at least from the context clues, we know Gregory doesn't actually want to leave the pizzeria. He has a reason for being there. But he doesn't tell you, he won't tell Freddy, he won't tell nobody. So you have to sit there, blink at the screen, and just wait for literally anything to happen. I sometimes can't root for this kid because he just pisses me off. Sometimes he's funny. I will give them that. There are some times where Gregory's lines are funny and have made me giggle. Other times, he's so annoying, so stupid, such a little shit. It just doesn't make sense. And maybe that's because the game doesn't feel finished at all. But Gregory as a character, at least to me, sucks. Maybe he would have been better if they just waited a little bit longer to finish the game, but with the Gregory we have right now, I just want to kick him. I just want to kick him. Just a little bit. Just want to kick him just a little bit. I mean, if he doesn't give a Freddy fast fuck, why should I? Let's move on from hating on a child. Let's talk about the more serious things like glitches, big and small. Sadly, for how big this game is, it is full of glitches. Some that just make you want to restart the level, some that literally crash your game in the most dire parts. It's kind of embarrassing how many issues this giant game has. I literally found a list of all these different glitches that are just in the game. These are some not limited to teleporting enemies, which is fine. They do that to spawn and not have to be roaming in areas you're not at. Player phasing through walls, which is you can just sequence break areas. Enemies phasing through walls. Also really hard when you're trying to sneak around something and they just fucking appear from the corner. Not being able to do something because something is too close to another thing and then you start doing that. You're trying to charge your flashlight and trying to hide or save and it just overlaps each other, which sucks. Freddy being able to open doors he shouldn't be able to open to, and again, sequence breaking and you can just jump out of Freddy sometimes and end up in those rooms. Another one that's really annoying, and I don't know if it's technically a bug or if it's just I'm gonna count it as a bug, is when like subtitles or like voice audio overlapping each other or being completely different. Like Freddy's starting to say something that progresses the story, but then you accidentally run into like Monty and then his lines overlap Freddy's, either cutting him off completely, mixing up the subtitles. It's just a mess, and they should really prioritize that. I mean, some glitches are so big where it just completely messes up your game. The one YouTuber I personally saw had such big issues is MatPat. He literally had a glitch where he could not progress to the next part of the story. He had multiple glitches where he had to restart because it was like after 6 a.m., which I will get to that in a moment. Say there's way too many game-breaking glitches. The small glitches, totally fine, you know? Big glitches, not so great when you're trying to finish this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes the glitches are very funny, like Monty just zooming across the floor in like a T-pose, or like you jumping on a ledge where you're not supposed to be, and the animatronics just not knowing what to do. Those are funny, but not fun to encounter when you're trying to beat the game. Just saying, you could spend like 5 minutes just looking at all these like lists and stuff on like Reddit and other websites about all these glitches and bugs, and it's just like, it's sad. I'm sad about it because I love Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's sad to see all these issues with this game. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful game. The character designs are cool, like all of that, but when the game has this many glitches to the point where sometimes to some people it's unplayable, you just gotta kind of take a step back. Okay, I'm going to say 2 petty problems, like, back to back. One of them is the massive amount of jump scares that come from the security bots. At the beginning of the game, it was fun and fine and spooky, but later in the game, it becomes redundant and awful. I understand they're trying to make you sneak, but sometimes it's just like they catch you off guard when you are trying to sneak or trying to escape another animatronic, and then you get stuck like on them or on the jump scare and then get murdered. So it's like, it becomes frustrating. The only one that I do like is MapBot because it's helpful. You get a map out of it, it's like an equal transaction, it's fun. The second tiny problem, and this just might be me overanalyzing something, but when you find Freddy broken outside of Roxy's Raceway, I'll put like a picture up of what he looks like. He says the reason why he's laying there is because he missed an hourly recharge. And this might be just me being dumb, so correct me if I am. But the hourly recharges is when all the power is reverted to the power stations and Moon is allowed to roam, right? They say that happens at the end of each hour, so that has to be the hourly recharge. But when you find Freddy in that state, there wasn't an hourly recharge where he wasn't there saving you from Moon. Now, I don't know if this is a plot hole or maybe a theory where Freddy isn't as good as he says he is, but there's no way he missed an hourly recharge because there wasn't one. They could have tied in the story with Freddy's gone, you can't activate him, and you're trying to escape Moon by going to a different location. That would have been cool and would have explained what happened to Freddy, but they don't do that, and you just find Freddy sitting there being like, I've waited for you, Gregory, past an hourly recharge when there wasn't one. Now it's time to talk about the 6 a.m. thing. I understand what they were trying to do with upping the ante and the stress at the end of the game, but let me tell you, when almost everybody fucking hates it, personally, I think it was an awful idea. There was a bunch of ways they could have upped the ante. Those being, you can only save after a few minutes, like 30 minutes maximum. Or there's only auto saves. Or the animatronics become more aggressive, or aware, or faster, or something to make the game harder, instead of just erasing saves altogether. I know there's technically a glitch. I don't know if it's like on purpose or it is a glitch and it's not supposed to be there, where you can activate saves again by like glitching the game to think it's like 5:15 again, I think, by getting like the head from Roxy's Raceway like a second time. But I know I'm not the only one that hates the 6 a.m. thing. It is downright frustrating, especially since this game has so many endings, so many possibilities, where you have to keep replaying from the end of the night. I understand what they were trying to do. It was stupid though, and they really should not have done it. I think those are all the things I can possibly fit in this video. I mean, there's a ton of issues with this game, but that doesn't stop me from loving it. I mean, this game has its issues, but it's still FNAF and it still has a place in my heart, sadly. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and me ranting about FNAF. Bye!